All right, happy Wednesday night, everybody. Welcome on into the daily broadcast coming to you from Raiderland World Headquarters on a beautiful West Texas day. Glad you're out there. We got stuff going on tonight. What if Wednesday? What if NIL didn't exist? Good or bad for Texas Tech? We also have Texas Tech never done in the portal basketball, continuing to add talent. Lawan Watts, welcome on in from Washington State to Texas Tech. And then we have baseball news. And we really hadn't talked about the situation at Tennessee over the weekend, where Tennessee finally figured out we actually have a lot of leverage in this whole NIL game. It's like finally somebody tapped them on the shoulder and said, hey, they don't have a guaranteed contract. You can move on. Big deal. How will it change things going forward? You tell us tonight. Jump on that United Supermarkets chat line. Let's have a lot of fun. Let's have great conversation this evening, all right? The other thing you do early on, you let us know the audio is good, the video is good. Give us thumbs up, hearts, and then you share the dog out of it on YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, on Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media, and then on our Facebook page, and invite your friends on in. Exactly what Craig is doing right now, saying the talking box is on. That's pretty good product placement right there. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt. TheRaiderland.com is the website. You start your day every day checking out the Raiderland hot links, all the cool questions we got for you and everything else that happens there. We archive everything we do. If you miss a show or anything, a column, you're going to find it at TheRaiderland.com. Brought to you tonight by The Reserve, a culinary tavern, so much more than that, 103rd and Quaker in Lubbock. Great brunch, one of the best in Lubbock. They will be open from 10 to 2 on Easter Sunday. So if you're looking for an Easter brunch, you don't want to take mom out or grandma or just the whole family, whatever you want to do. But I highly recommend you get in quickly. Go on their website there for the Reserve, and you can get in. I can't remember which platform they use, so I don't want to say I'll get the wrong one. But get a reservation, because it is filling up very quickly, and it's one of the best brunches in town. Also brought to you by McAlpin Chiropractic. If you have too much brunch this weekend, and maybe you get too active, and all of a sudden you wake up and you go, I am not the weekend warrior I thought I was. I thought I was going to play golf all day Saturday, go to brunch at the Reserve on Sunday, then do work around the house and stuff because it's a really nice day, and all of a sudden you wake up feeling like, garbage. Hey, Kevin McAlpin, he can help. You really can't. If your back's out of whack, don't call a quack. Call Kevin Mack. Not his slogan. That would be illegal. All right, let's get it going tonight. I want to know what you guys are thinking. This show tonight is predicated upon your thoughts, where you are on all these topics. So utilize the United Supermarkets chat line, which obviously you can get everything you need for Easter there at United Supermarkets. We've told you that for a couple of weeks. If you hadn't figured that out yet, I don't know what to tell you. So the what if Wednesday question, and we love alt history in Raiderland. What if NIL didn't exist? Let's turn back the clock to 2010. Transfer portal, no such thing. NIL, that's cheating. That's a bag man. What if it didn't exist? Good or bad for Texas Tech? Now that you have watched it over the last 3 to 5 years, the portal, the transfer came first. NIL, we dipped our toes into it. Now we're fully into it. Depending on how old you are as a Texas Tech fan, the world we operate and live in today versus the world we operated and lived in 2010, 2000, 1990, 1980, 1970. You tell me. All right? You tell me. And then if you want to get into the specifics on basketball or anything else, let's do that. You guys know what to do. Fire away. Get the comments coming in thanks to the United Supermarkets chat line. So Raider 92, which means he graduated, I assume, the same year I did. Love NIL and the portal. Schools like Texas Tech can now compete at a high level, getting better talent. The traditional blue bloods are no longer the only destinations. Bingo, nobody else has to chime in. That's it. We're done. We can end the show right now. We really can. Because Raider 92, and I don't I don't know if we ever had a class together or anything else, but on campus, probably at the same time if you graduated in 92. Yeah. I've seen what it looked like before NIL and the transfer portal for Texas Tech for 40, 50 years. Go back farther. And I've seen what Texas Tech is doing right now over the last couple of years. Guess what I like better? I like the NIL better. I like the transfer portal better. That schools like Texas Tech, this is the only leveling effect that you could have that would allow you to compete against the so-called blue buds. Blue bloods. Blue buds. Blue buds. That's like a Bud Light, right? We've seen this one time in history in college sports, and it was in 1970 when the NCAA put limits on football scholarships and capped it at, I think, 105. That it was unlimited, that Texas and Oklahoma and those schools could have 7 deep high school All-Americans. Tech couldn't get anything. When the cap came in, along with freshman eligibility, immediately in the early 70s, guess what? Texas Tech had their best 5-year run that they've ever had in school history in football under Jim Carlin and then the 76 team under Steve Sloan. That was the direct result of the caps coming in on scholarships and allowing freshmen to play. It distributed talent like we'd never seen before. What we've seen with NIL, what we've seen with the transfer portal, is very similar to what we saw in the early 70s. Now, I know many of you weren't around in the early 70s. You weren't born. That's my job. That's what we do. You know, that's what we do. So what if NIL didn't exist today? Where would Texas Tech be right now? You tell me. Chris, teams like Tech can compete if they have the donors and donors are willing to participate. Yeah, that's always been the case. 100%. You got to have the money. You got to have the people. Now it's legal. In the words of Doc Holliday, this time it's legal. My hypocrisy knows no bounds. So, for those who hate what's going on, if you're out there, and I want you to tell me if you're out there, there might be Tech fans that hate the portal, hate everything about what's going on right now. Tell me why you hate it. And I get it if you do, but tell me why you hate it. If you like it, tell me why you like it. But I want to know where you think Texas Tech would be without the portal and NIL. Do you think Texas Tech would have been an Elite Eight basketball team this past year? Heck, do you think Tech would have gone to the national title game in 2019 without the portal? NIL didn't exist, but the portal did. And you went and got Mooney and you got Tariq Owens. That Chris Beard understood that in basketball day one and embraced it. So you don't have to like it to say it's good for Tech or it's bad for Tech. Or are you one of those that is, I've got a good friend who hates everything about it. Ruining college sports, ruining it, whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you still pay attention. You still watch. How is it ruining it? Tech's doing better in a lot of areas than ever before. Tell me how it's ruining it. And it always comes down to, well, it just is. Okay. All right. Chris, again on Facebook, I like it, but I do think a different school every year for 4 years is over the top a little. All right, so that's where this can be brought in. That's a great point. And you just led me into something that we were going to talk about last night regarding what went on at Tennessee. So here's the deal. The transfer portal, until they can get a handle on it and fix it and do whatever you want, you're basically, everybody's a free agent every year. Well, that sounds really good, right? That's much better than NFL players that have 2 and 3 year contracts, and their leverage is to hold out and not play. The team can't get rid of them because they're stuck with them. So the player has some leverage right there that, I'm taking up space. What do you want to do? So we watch what happened at Tennessee, and they realized real quick, hey, guess what? We have leverage too. It's a 1-year deal. We can get rid of you and find somebody that looks exactly like you and pay them more or less or in between, and we don't have to worry about it. You're gone. you don't have a deal. Scholarships are 1 year, and there are probably still people out there, maybe even watching this show tonight, that think it's still 4-year scholarships and all that. No. Hadn't been in that way for years. All 1-year deals. That's not going to get fixed at the NCAA level anytime soon. They've got a lot of issues in the courts regarding that aspect. But what can fix that is quite simply the thing that a lot of people hate, which again, we go back to NIL. And NIL is separate from the $20.5 million, whatever, that the House settlement will give schools to disperse among all student athletes. NIL will still exist. They can still get money. But if you want that NIL deal, there's nothing stopping the NIL collectives to say, all right, I'll give you a 2-year contract with clawback mechanisms. If you leave, and you can leave, but you owe me money, much like a buyout for a coach. That's where this comes into play on the NIL, that you come back to the student athlete and say, yeah, we'll do this, but you got to sign an NIL deal that's going to last at least 2 years, maybe 3. If you want out after that, fine, your next school can pay us $500,000 or whatever it is. All of that is legal right now. Now, eventually we'll get to unionization of athletes, collectively bargain agreements. That's where you'll get a salary cap, and that's what has to happen, in order to make this stuff work. All right, Texas Tech men's basketball. Lawan Watts, 6'6" forward, coming in out of Washington State. Nice pickup. And if you were looking for a D. Will replacement, how about this? Williams last year, 34% from three-point. This dude, 42%. 13-7 on the point, 6-7 on the rebounds. Full-grown man. Hitting the portal again. Texas Tech men's basketball. Fran Fraschilla today, the ESPN analyst, saying, I'm getting bored talking about Texas Tech getting all these players. Then the what-if question, what if NIL didn't exist? Good or bad for Texas Tech? You tell us. All right, let's get some more comments coming in on the United Supermarkets chat line. A whole lot of schools were doing NIL before it was a thing. Those are the schools complaining the most. Looking at you, Bama and LSU and everybody in the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. And yeah, it's always out there. Tech tried to do it. Tech tried to cheat in the 80s. So bad at it. Good Lord, so bad at it. Handing out a sack full of groceries and some boots. And next thing you know, in 87, you're on probation. Unbelievable. Preston T. Long says buy double eagle crude. Crude sitting around, what's the settle today? 62? Need that thing around sweet spot 85, 90, I think. He says, I love what's going on. This is dangerous liberty playing out right in front of our eyes. The NIL and the portal is beneficial to Tech. Those who give up liberty for peaceful security deserve neither. Was that Thomas Jefferson? I believe who said that. You'll get nothing and you'll like it. Judge Smells. Jeff, NIL only. Jeff is on our YouTube channel. You guys should be on our YouTube channel. Everybody should be on our YouTube channel. You don't have to watch it there. All right? You don't have to watch it there. But subscribe, drive the numbers, invite people in. NIL and the portal has allowed schools like Tech to level up and compete. The question is, can we use it to become sustainably in the top 20 program? Are we talking about football specifically? Because if you're talking about sustainability in the top 20, and I assume you're talking about rankings or whatever, no. Because you're going to create an NFL-like league. There's going to be 70-some-odd teams or whatever, and they're going to go up and down just like in the NFL. The key, Jeff, is what you want to do is you want to be in the upper echelon of college football in that league. Once you're in that league, nothing else matters. Look at the NFL. So many owners don't care whether they win or lose, the checks roll in. That's what you got to do. You got to get in that league. JC, price of oil, 78 on the sweet spot is what he said. 78. I would say 85, just a little bit higher. Give me a little bit more. Now that doesn't include LNG and how we would factor that in. But hey, if you gave me 78, that's fine. If we took a lot of the restrictions off at the government level, and we can go out and we can get more. Saban griping about NIL is laughable. Yes, it is. Just like Bill Self griping about NIL, and so many coaches, so many programs that benefited from NIL over the years. All right, you guys are doing good tonight. I want you to take a moment, everybody who's watching the show right now, whatever platform you're on, hit share. And if you got to write something there and say, hey, tag friends, join the show, be a part of this every night, 6:30 to 7. Want you to do that. Want you also, if you want to go to a brunch on Sunday at the Reserve, you ought to get your reservations done tonight there at the Reserve in Lubbock, a culinary tavern. And of course, McAlpin Chiropractic, ready to make you feel better every day. United Supermarkets taking care of the chat line. They've got everything you need to make Easter perfect. They got baskets, they got all the candy, they got all that stuff. If you are in a family matter, in a family way, that is an important thing right now, they can help you out on that. They had a ton of briskets out today when I went by, and I swear I didn't look closely. It looked like a bunch of turkeys. Are you people out there doing turkeys on Easter? Is that taking place? Are there people having turkey on Easter? Because Easter is ham. Boom, ham. Or brisket. Or fajitas. Or ribeyes. Or T-bones. But Easter ain't no turkey day. What are we doing with that? JC, NIL and revenue sharing are going to have to be mutual exclusive, or we're back to the 80s. I'm not exactly sure where you're going with that, but I'm probably being obtuse right here. I mean, NIL will be outside the revenue share. The revenue share will be just like the NFL, and then NIL is no more and no different than Patrick Mahomes signing an advertising contract with State Farm and Coors Light. And that's what it's going to look like. The model's there. This is not hard, people. The model's there. It's the NFL. It's the NBA. It's not hard. Jeff, can we use the portal NIL to drive success across the board that we are always mentioned in the conversation with the UTs, Bamas, the Ohio State universities of the college sports world? Yeah, it'll get you closer. The main thing is you just got to be in the league with them. You got to be playing in the same league. This can't be like the EPL and you're Swansea City and maybe Cardiff down there, and you're fighting every other year not to be relegated. And you go up, you go down. You got to get in the club. Once you're in the club, I mean, that would be like saying, talking about the Cleveland Browns and the, Kansas City Chiefs. Can we be in the same conversation with the Kansas City Chiefs if we're the Cleveland Browns? Well, yeah, because you're in the league. Get in the league. Everything else takes care of itself from there. Texas Tech baseball news today. Don Williams reporting in the Avalanche Journal, among other places, that TJ Pompey is done for the year. So we have we have this odd deal that the Patrick Mahomes special scholarship thing that they announced back in the summer last year and everything, and the first people to get it, almost every athlete that's gotten that has had problems. Micah Hudson, Pompey now done for the year. Not good. Tech baseball, specifically going into the Arizona State series this weekend, the RPI is at 88, up 11 spots the last week. You won a series. And we talked about it a little bit last night, that we have seen over the last 2 weeks, really, a big jump for the Big 12 in D1Baseball.com RPI for the teams that we might be looking at a league that can get actually 4 teams in. So as of today, TCU up to 16. They're up +9 over the week. And that gets you a regional host. That's the only team that's in the regional host site right now. 18, Arizona. West Virginia, 21. Where did Arizona State go? Where are you? Arizona State. There's TCU. There's Arizona. West Virginia, 21. Arizona State, 32. To Kansas 33, and then you start dropping down to Kansas State at 40. Kansas State bled 5 spots. Bottom line, right now, within the Big 12, I feel much better about this league getting 4 teams in. You're not going to have a protected national seed, which means you don't have anybody in the top 8 who would be guaranteed to host a super regional. That's unacceptable. This league has good enough baseball programs that every year you should be having at least 1 team as a top 8. Firmly believe that. And when this season is done, we're going to do an autopsy on where the league is baseball-wise with some of my baseball people. And it may be a recorded podcast, not something we do live, but this league ought to be better right now. So what does all that mean for TAC? Well, it means the hashtag 4 days in May is still the deal. You got to figure out a way to win 4 games at the Big 12 tournament. It's single elimination. Top 12 teams go. You do that, you get into the tournament. So there you go. That's what you got to do if you're TAC. But now you know for sure, and I think they've known for a while, Pompey took a ball off the wrist. Done. Hadn't played since what, March 31st? The best thing I'm seeing right now with Tech baseball is Jack Siebert, and he is taking control of a guy who can be a Friday, Sunday guy, which that means in the Big 12 tournament, I would start him the first game. I would bring him back in relief 2 days later, which so that's a Wednesday. Pitch him on Wednesday. You got to figure out how to win without him on Thursday. And then on Friday, you pitch his guts out. And then on Saturday, if you get to the tournament championship game that night, you probably don't have him, and you've got to go score a bunch of runs. League number, I still say 70, 5 divisions, 7 2-conference based on regionalism, but with 7 balanced schedules, champs of a few wild cards. Yeah, I'm good with that. You give me 70, I can make 70 work. 100%. I think 70 is probably the right number, sweet spot. There's going to be a lot of pressure for them to somehow try to figure out, can we include the non-power, whatever? How do we make them work? Yeah, screw them. Let them have their own championship. Right? Don't matter. Yeah, I could 100% live with 70. I mean, I've seen everything from the, 62, 64, 70. You can go a little above 70 if you want to make sure you got Rice and Vanderbilt to kick around. Then you just got a bunch of eaters and riders and mouths to feed that, they're not going to do anything. But somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to lose in this deal. And, of course, what we're talking about, everything is totally separated from the NCAA. It has nothing to do with the NCAA. That football is its own entity. Men's basketball will be its own entity. And then all the other sports, if you want to have an NCAA, you can do regional conferences and anything else. All right, questions, comments, thoughts. NIL, if it didn't exist today, good or bad for Texas Tech? If the portal didn't exist today, good or bad for Texas Tech? And then, as we were mentioning earlier, the Tennessee saga, I think should be a watershed moment for a lot of schools to realize, and a lot of players to realize, that the great thing you have right now, I'm talking about as a player, I have mobility. I can go anywhere I want, anytime I want to. I have that leverage. The leverage the school has is to say, we don't care. You can't hold out because we can get rid of you at a moment's notice. The Cleveland Browns can't get rid of Deshaun Watson. The Cowboys can't get rid of Dak Prescott. They couldn't get rid of Ezekiel Elliott because of contracts. Well, when there are no long-term contracts in Tennessee, bless their hearts, they figured it out. Rarely do we hear intelligent things coming out of the state of Tennessee. They did it. And they said, you know what? We can go get somebody exactly like you. One, you're not that great. Probably a good quarterback. And whoever was giving this young man advice, idiots, fools, complete idiots and fools. In a lot of schools, maybe over the weekend, realized, and we've talked about, on this show and otherwise, the players had all the cards. Well, you don't have all the cards when you don't have a long-term contract. And now the schools hopefully are realizing that if I'm Cody Campbell and I'm Dustin Womble and everybody else running the collective and doing the NIL right now for Texas Tech, and again, the House settlement not done, not finalized, and may not happen. May not happen for another year or two. I'm willing to bet we operate under the current rules for another year minimum, maybe 2 years, because there will be lawyers that I'm saying, okay, I don't care what the transfer rule is. That's fine. You can leave. But if you want to come here and get our money, it's a 2-year deal. And if you leave, we have what's called crawback mechanism. We'll claw it back. We get it back. It's not hard. Would the fishing guide in Red River take another fishing guide fishing? In fact, Jeff Fagan would absolutely take a fishing guide fishing at any time in northern Mexico and put you on some really good water. And if you keep your mouth shut, put you on some really good water. Just don't tell anybody where you went fishing. Yeah, give Jeff a holler. Jeff Fagan. I'm not good enough to fish with him. But I do know the waters that he puts people on, and and he's just cool. You can go back into town, hang out at Bull of the Woods. Maybe he'll bring his guitar out, sing a song or two. Yeah, that's why he's a part of what we do here in Raiderland. And he has sworn me to secrecy as to his allegiance college athletically. So I'm not going to tell you what that is. I do want to tell you the Silver Spur Trade Show is coming up April 26th and 27th. We'll be out there Saturday on the 26th, going live about 2 o'clock for an hour. Coming out, see us. Gun and Blade Show, everything that you have come to expect from Silver Spur. They're going to be out there with Kim Sansom and the crew. We intended to have her on last night, but where she lives, the internet wasn't working out too good. JC, we don't want a real union. Is there more of an association you can collectively bargain with? We don't want employees, but we want contracts worth their salt. You want a real union because look how well it's worked for the NFL. The NFL owns the Players Association, 100%, lock, stock, and barrel. So, yeah, if you are on the side of the college, if you're on the employer side, you want a real union. But there's not going to be any quasi association that's going to be recognized by the National Labor Relations Board or anything regarding that. It's going to be a union. It's going to be a union associated with either individual conferences, maybe at first, or like we said, a 70-team league that exists outside the NCAA, Robert, who apparently knows everything that's going on in Knoxville, that was Nico's father. Yeah, cost him his place there at Tennessee. Well, Daddy was an idiot. I hope he didn't get a degree from Tennessee, and certainly not Texas Tech. All right, you guys are the best. We've had fun tonight. We will be back with you in the morning. All right, no column earlier today. Every now and then, WordPress, who has the back end on our website, does what's called site maintenance, and you can't get in and do anything. And then when we got done with that, time was running out. I'm like, I can't get anything put together. So yeah, that's where that happened. So, but tomorrow we'll be back with you. Over underrated, right? Thursday we'll have that Raiderland hot links. We'll do double hot links after missing out on you today. I want you guys to share this though with your friends on Facebook. I want everybody who watches this to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Same thing on Facebook if you're not there, and everybody on Twitter X. If you're not following us there, it's at Ryan Hyatt Media. But the best thing you can do every day for our great sponsors like the Reserve, a culinary tavern, like United Supermarkets, like McAlpin Chiropractic, is share it. It don't cost you anything, don't cost no time. Just hit that button, share it, and say, hey, check it out tomorrow. They're going to be doing cool stuff. All right? That would be good. He gets in late. He comes in off the top rope, and I get no time to figure out exactly what he means. But yes, site maintenance. All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow. You guys be well. I have no idea what's for supper, but I'm sure it's going to be good.